Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Room for Everybody. Today, my guest is Avery, and I'm going to pass it over and let Avery introduce themselves.
Hi guys, I'm Avery. I am also a podcast host and I am 16. So yeah, that's me.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Would you mind sharing with the listeners what are some of the identities that you hold?
I think there's so many different ones, especially with my age. I haven't really explored it all yet, but for now, I kind of have two identities in mind that flip-flop between my personal life and my social life. I think the one that interacts most with I like is most dear to myself is kind of like my podcast, my mental health, my reading. Those are the three main aspects of it because nobody really knows I'm a big bookworm. I read about like 2 books a day.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh, yes. And it's kind of, that's what my podcast is about, mental health. So I'm a big advocate and I love talking about it and just ending the stigma. And then on the other hand, my other side is more of my school side and it's more of my academics and how I get through the daily life in school and how I navigate with my peers and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. What books did you read today?
I actually haven't started it today because I took the PSAT.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to read. I'm really into like the small town romances right now on
Okay.
Kindle. So I'll probably choose something like that. I always have like a TBR list to get ready to read. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you share a little bit about how some of those identities interact with the space around you?
yes. So the one space I chose for this was my bedroom. And I think a lot of people can identify with their bedroom being their safe space. But how I interact with my bedroom based off my identity is probably just honestly like I spend most of my time in there. I'm a teenager. I don't know. For now, it's like my spot, my safe space. And in my room holds, the bed, the dresser, but I have my vanity that I love sitting at and doing all kind of cool things like makeup and just all that stuff. I have something called a nugget. It's like a kid's couch, but it can move. It's really cool, honestly, like for the kids, but I got it. And it's kind of like a couch. And then I have my side table and that all comes into one because like people wouldn't think their side table has anything to do with their identities. What's in my side table has all my Polaroid pictures, my Kindle, my notebooks, my journals, everything that kind of is me. I think, I personally read in bed, even though I should probably be reading on my couch. I read on my bed, and that's kind of my spot. My couch kind of holds, like my computer, like my stuffed animals, like my childhood ones. Like I said, my vanity kind of holds all like my skincare, my makeup, everything that also can make me me when I apply it. My dresser has all my clothes and how I express myself in my clothing. I think people wouldn't think necessarily like the room shows your identity, but my room is very me.
Mhm.
Posters fill all the walls. We're big Bruins fans. I have Bruins posters. I just feel like it's very me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that you picked your bedroom because I feel like it is such a personal space. And you really highlighted how it showcases your individuality and like
Yeah.
things that are meaningful for you. So I think that's wonderful. Did
Thank
you
you.
pick out the color as well?
Yes. So when about 5 years ago, we had a house fire. And so when that happened, I was in a room. It used to be bright green. And I think that's kind of what some parents pick out. It's a neutral color for your baby. But when we came to painting the new house, I chose a color and I was a smart 11-year-old because I chose light gray. So it is light gray, opposed to my sister who chose bright purple and she is now regretting it.
Oh no.
But my light gray, I think it doesn't make it too dark, but it's light when the windows aren't open. I love it because it's just a simple color that can match with anything.
Hmm. Definitely. And I think if we're talking about mental health, like it's also important to kind of get that light in the space.
Yes, definitely. My windows are always open, even though I'm starting to regret it because as it gets colder, it's coming through my windows and I'm just like, ooh, freezing.
Yeah, definitely. Are there other things in this space that you think are beneficial for your mental health?
Well, like I said, definitely my books that I love living in the fantasy world. It's a good escape from the real world, as we know. We need escapes sometimes. I also have something that's hung on my wall. I don't know what you call it, but it's like shelving. But on one shelf, I have all my Harry Potter books. And Harry Potter really got me through eighth grade. And kind of weird that eighth grade was kind of the second year into COVID. So it kind of like, I don't know, it did a lot for me. That was my worst mental health year. And that kind of saved me. I have my wand from Universal, the Luna Lovegood one. I have my spectacles, my Luna Lovegood spectacles. And I have the giving angels, if you know what those are. They're the angels that mean different things. Like you can hope, peace, love, a mom and a daughter, just all those types of ones. I have two of those from my grandmother. And I love representing that because she sold her big house and she's now in an apartment. So each of her grandkids got a
Oh.
few. She has 12 grandkids. She had that many. And then on my other shelf, I have like a few candles. I have my crystals. I have my perfume. Just kind of those little knickknacks that kind of are kind of me.
Hmm.
So I'd say that's a little something, especially again, like I said, my posters too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. No, I think that's really great and really sweet that you also have like a piece of your grandmother in the space.
definitely, it was very important to me as I grew up in the big house, the big family house. That's where they have a homemade bar, that house that my papa
Wow.
made. I've been through it all, so it was hard, but our good friends bought the house actually. So it's not totally gone. But I love having her with me because they do live 6 hours away. For some people, that's like, whoa, that's nothing. But it's hard growing up without like being this far. So I love it.
Yeah. During COVID, were you doing virtual school like in your room, or did you
So
have a different
for
space?
I did do it in my room. At that time, I did have a desk in my room, but in my house, it is not the biggest. My room is not the biggest. So it's not particularly crowded right now. But again, I had to like lose some things to add some things. So I did have a desk in there at the time, and I did virtual school for the first half. And then as things were finally getting better, we did hybrid. So one week, a certain amount of students would come in and go into school and learn, and then the next week we'd be online, and the other half of students would go in and learn. So it was like that until freshman year when we just went to school the whole time, just with masks though.
Yeah, how was that experience for you?
It's crazy because you never think you're going to be going through a pandemic in your life. You think of like all the other pandemics and you're like, whoa, that can never happen. And bam, it happens all of a sudden and you're living in it. Going into high school is kind of weird with the masks. Freshman year, yes, the masks. And then I think at the end of freshman year, everything was kind of lifting. And that was like, end of my freshman year was probably end of 2022, like June of 2022. So as things slowly got lifted and the masks came off, and now it's like there wasn't even a pandemic.
Yeah, is definitely a bizarre thing to have experienced for sure.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. If you had a message to other parents for how they could help their teenager kind of design a space that was best for them, is there anything you would want to say?
I think giving them a budget and giving them the reins. Of course, there's gonna have to be a need. They'll need a bed and they will need a dresser. But I think other than that, I think you should give them the reins of how they want their space to be because that is their safe space. Let them be as creative as they want. There's always room for changes and not everything's going to always stay the same.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice and something that adults could also use for their spaces. Like, I think
Definitely.
there could be more creativity in the world, especially in homes. I sometimes see homes that look very much like a magazine cover, and
Yes,
I'm like, but
definitely.
where's the personality in this
Where's the touch
space?
of color? Exactly. Like my whole house is dark grays and like blues. but it has the personality all to it. So I think that's what
Yeah.
makes it.
Yeah, definitely. Wonderful. Anything else that you would like to say about spaces?
Take up space. Don't be afraid. No matter if it's physical space or mental space, take it up and don't care what anyone has to say about it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And I'd
Thank
also love for you to share with our listeners a little bit more about your podcast.
So my podcast is called I Am Avery. And I think that very much resonates with me because I am Avery in my daily life and how I go about it. It's about mental health and everything that intertwines with it. So it's practically everything in your life. No matter if people think some things don't go with mental health, it does. Everything you do in life goes with mental health. I have guests. I talk about the taboo topics and I'm trying to stop the stigma. So I am Avery on Spotify and YouTube, and then you can on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's also I am Avery with a 988 to it, which is
Okay.
the suicide helpline.
Wonderful. I think that's a really incredible mission and very admirable that you're doing that because podcasts do take a lot of work.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Dear listener, thank you for joining me on today's episode. This podcast is produced by Eden Environments, an inclusive and sustainable interior design firm. Our human-centric design strategy creates spaces that are fat and neurodivergent friendly, trauma-informed, and sustainable. If that sounds like what you need, contact me through Eden's website to get started. For the latest updates, sign up for emails and follow along on your favorite social media platform. And until we meet again, I wish you gentle days.